Xbox is going to undercut Sony's ninth generation consoles across the board. And the reason why I say this is because Microsoft is coming from a position of weakness because they blew it with the eighth generation. Now they had the upper hand the seventh generation, at least for the first half, and then second half, be it 2010 on, Sony caught up because they came strong with first party titles. Now, people can always debate how good are Sony first person titles because they tend to be movie like as its narrative, story driven. It's like Sony Picture Studios took the script to the game developers, the first party game developer, and say, hey, just add some buttons to it and make it an interactive movie. Now, you get interesting stories, some emotion, character development, things of that nature. So yeah, I understand why it appeals to a lot of people. And Sony just doubled down on it and went hard on it at the end of that seventh generation. They released another God of War game, even though I played that third one and Ascension wasn't as good as the first two and Ghost of Sparta nor Chains of Olympus. But they did it anyway because they had a fan base. They had The Last of Us, the Uncharted, the second and third one specifically that really got people going. They did re-releases, upgraded to HD for the previous God of War games, Shadow of Colossus, Ico, and other first-party titles that people tended to enjoy. So that's how Sony was able to catch up, even though they started out behind. Now, going into that seventh generation from the sixth generation, yes, Sony had the advantage, but Xbox was more powerful. People liked the direction of Halo, and they were on an uptrend because they were the ones that really were incorporating the PC type of architecture into their systems off the bat. And it was able to port over some cool PC titles, especially when it came to the 360 era and the price point. And it came out a year before the PS3. So Xbox came out strong at that point. And they got a little lackadaisical, especially with the way they released the Xbox One, how they had the accessory, the Connect, I believe, and how they wanted people not to have used games. They wanted to treat the physical games like digital games. And they just made a big mess of it. Plus, there's third party, I mean, not third party, but the first party titles were getting kind of stale for some people in terms of Halo, Gears, Forza, etc. So there you have it. Xbox is trying to make a comeback. They've acquired some studios for first party products, but they're coming from a behind position. And you can also get their first party titles on PC. So, hey, you know what? They're just going to undercut Sony. That means the Xbox Series X, the full blown, powerful 12 teraflop joint, excuse me, will come in at the same price as the digital edition of the PS5. It'll be at $399. And the Xbox Series S, that's going to be a third as powerful as Xbox Series X, will come in at $299, undercutting the digital edition of the PS5. Xbox Series X will probably not have the Blu-ray. It'll be an all digital thing, and it will come in a little less than half the teraflops than the PS5 will supposedly be. And that's going to be Xbox's strategy. They want to get into people's hands. And even with that Series S, to say, hey, well, at least get the Series S. They can get this to go along with your PS5. So that's why they dropping the price to that point. I don't see it dropping down to, well, I don't see it coming out at $199 for the Series S. $299 would make sense. So it'll be less they have to try to make up in terms of game sales, licenses, etc. Unless they really, really want to go hard. I doubt they will because I don't see Sony dropping the digital edition of the PS5 below $399 at launch. So yeah, this console Series S is going to be for people that may be new into console gaming, the younger generation, or even some older people that skipped previous generations. Also be more affordable year by year. People becoming more in favor of digital downloads. I'm not. I still like to buy used games and have physical copies and like to do the whole sale trade in thing. And it'll be a way for people that were into Xbox, at least with the 360, say, hey, all right, let me go ahead, get this lower teraflop version and see what Xbox is going to do nowadays. Let me see what they're going to do with their first party titles. And guess what? Even at the end of the day, they can still play some older titles from the digital store. Now, I would hope if they put a Blu-ray player drive in the Series S, I would probably get that just so I can go back and play original Xbox and 360 titles enhanced, even if I don't like what they may put out in the future in terms of the Series S, Series X, this ninth generation. I would like to see it. I doubt that'll happen, but I can be hopeful. That would be nice if they did that. I would definitely go for that just to have it and play older titles and pick up some newer ones and play some third party titles that'll be for the ninth generation. And if I want to further down the line, get that PS5 and play a more powerful, enhanced version of that, I can if the Xbox doesn't work out in terms of their Series X. So it gives you more options. I like what Xbox is doing. And it's going to be a good competition for this ninth generation in terms of console gaming. We'll definitely see because I definitely like the direction, at least in terms of Sony with that special SSD, something that you really can't get in computers right now. And that's how console gaming is kind of been to me coming up in the 90s. Hey, the console would do stuff that the PC couldn't do, that it could push out, even by the mid 90s, push out 3D type of graphics that the PCs couldn't do quite yet. They had a better 16-bit 2D games. The PCs couldn't do quite then and there, and PC had to catch up to that a little bit. So I kind of like the console setting the stage. But it got a little bit flipped later on in the 90s when you had the first pair of shoes of the Quakes of the world, Unreal tournaments, where they kind of took the graphical jump ahead of the console, or always were on par when the console came out and blow by it. So, but yeah, back to this. I'm getting a little sidetracked. I'm sorry about that. But yes, Series S, $299, Series X, $399. It's just how it has to be. That's how Xbox, Microsoft has to get back into the game, get back into that console race. It should be fun. That's my take. Iceberg Jim out. Deuces.